What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I bring to you yet another posing showcase, this time featuring Wolverine, Deadpool and Cable. If you didn't know already, I'm a big fan of all of these three characters and the actors who play these guys on film. Now, at first, I was planning on doing a Deadpool and Cable video when Cable got released, but with the recent announcement that Hugh Jackman was coming back as Logan for Deadpool 3, well, after I stopped convulsing, it was a no-brainer to bring in my Wolverine figure and make this a trio. Including the intro and outro today, we have a total of 12 scenes, and just a reminder that in my showcases, I use multiple figures and or accessories to help tell the story for each scene. In this video, I'm also trying a new presentation style by showing you what they can look like on the shelf next to each other first, whilst I break down the poses, and then I put them on the turntable so you can see all the angles along with some music. The song I use for this one is about 1:13 long. Lastly, don't forget, if you like my content, hit that like button, notification bell, and subscribe to the channel. It helps me grow and continue to make this type of content, not to mention I really appreciate all the support, guys. But now, with that, you know what we do. Okay, scene number 1. Here we have the trio together, Logan, Wade, and Cable. All in slightly dynamic poses displayed in a V-like formation next to each other, exactly how I would have them together on the shelf. Starting with Logan, he is actually in the same pose I had him in on the shelf before starting this video. This is a look I'm quite fond of, so I decided to kick this off with this one here. I like the look of movement with my figures too, so for him, I'm using his stand to hold him in place, otherwise he'd fall as neither foot is firmly placed on the ground. Moving on to Deadpool, for him I wanted to showcase him looking more serious and ready for war, to match the look of Logan. He is a very poseable figure and he is actually managing to balance here with the back foot only partially on the ground, which really surprised me. Then lastly, we have Cable, also conveying movement, heading off to the left with his shield up, pistol out, and also matching the vibe of the scene. Posed together like this for me is a great option to add some life to your display and pay homage to all three characters here. Scene number 2. This time I've moved Wolverine into the middle here and posed Deadpool and Cable off of him and the tone he's setting for this one. This is what I'd call a lineup of character poses for these guys. Starting with Cable, I wanted to use some of his other accessories, so I have him holding his BFG and his grenade launcher, just standing there looking badass. Then we have Logan in the pose that I think I'm going to put him back in on the shelf when I'm done with this video. I love it that much. He's looking mean and hulking here as if it's the moment right before going berserk. To add to his look, I have his jacket twisted up to convey some wind blowing through too. Now the jacket doesn't appear to have wires, but it holds up nicely still. Then lastly, we have Deadpool wielding both of his swords again, but this time in a different stance, squinting one eye to add a bit of character to his look as well. I really love these swords he comes with, so finding different ways to have him holding them is fun to mess with. This setup is another way you can add some life to these guys without really risking any damage to the figures. Scene number 3, another team up. For this one we have both Wade and Cable on the outside shooting their guns whilst we have Logan in the middle launching forward. Starting with Deadpool, I'm using both his handguns with the chambers sliding back as if he's in the middle of busting caps, both eyes squinting and body in a position to sell the movement and action. Then, moving on to Logan, because we have him in motion with his back foot off the ground mid-step here, I'm using the stand again. Unfortunately, his joints are a bit loose to be able to hold him in this position without it, but on the shelf I'm willing to have a stand there if I can capture a look for a character that I find appealing. No shame in using stands when needed, guys. Then lastly, we have Cable in a pretty easy and probably a common pose option for people who want to showcase him using the beast of an accessory that is the BFG. Pulling off this look for me was all about tweaks to make his stance look natural and imply he's actually looking down the scope. If you can do that, I think this is a cool display option for him too. Scene number 4. Those that know me know, I love to pose up figures in crouching or ground pound superhero landing type poses. So of course, I had to try to recreate a scene with all of these guys together doing it. Starting with Wolverine on the outside, I have him with one hand down, claws in the ground, and the other cocked back as if he's about to get up and thrust forward with his right arm. Then we have Cable in the middle on this one, the centerpiece, using the base here to give him something to interact with, which I think adds not only to his pose but the overall look of all three together. For him on this one, I'm also using a wire to make his poncho look as if it's blowing up into the wind. You will see that as it goes around on the turntable later too. Then we have Deadpool at the end, crouching down, holding both pistols in yet another variation to go along with these guys. This way I have all three in similar yet different looks for the scene. Scene number 5, Logan versus Wade, round 1. For this one, I'm trying something different here and going handheld on this one, guys, because I want to show you some different viewing points for a display like this. This pose is inspired by a sideshow Deadpool statue where he's in a pose like this, but on a Vespa. As I wanted to play around with the possible ensuing fight between Deadpool and Wolverine in their upcoming film, I thought I'd recreate the look of the statue, but have him stomping on Logan instead. I gotta say, I'm super happy with how this one turned out, and to my surprise, no stands required. Deadpool is actually balancing really well here, using the rock at the back for his left foot and Logan's face for the right foot. You'll see on the turntable that he holds really well in this pose as it goes around as well. Now, full disclaimer, this is not a pose I'd leave them in long term, but for photography, for sure. I also think this is a scene best viewed from above, so if you did want to put it in your display, I'd have it on a lower shelf so you're looking down at it, as it really enhances Deadpool's look, I think. Scene number 6. Logan vs. Wade, round 2. This time the tables have turned and Logan is now impaling Wade and lifting him up. This is my interpretation of a classic drawing of Deadpool vs. Wolverine. As you can see from this angle, we have a hidden stand, so if you're displaying this on the shelf, you can sell the illusion of them entangled without support. When you do see it on the turntable though, you'll definitely see the stand. This pose in general was quite difficult to pull off, and the entire time this was on the turntable, I thought it was going to topple over, but luckily for me, they held up. You know, this is the cool thing about these guys. It makes sense to have them battling in your display just as much as it does having them teaming up, which I think gives them such versatility. Who do you guys think would actually win this battle? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to know. Scene number 7. Now we move on to Deadpool vs. Cable, round 1. For this one, I wanted to have them clashing in battle, two opposing wills colliding in a standoff. We have Cable using his mechanical arm to deflect and push down Deadpool's sword, whilst bringing in his pistol to start blasting. And then we have Deadpool in classic Deadpool fashion, using his left hand as a pistol to poke his finger into the barrel. I can only imagine what would happen to his hand when Cable pulls the trigger. Personally, I think this is a good display option for you if you have both of these guys in your collection, as I think it ticks the boxes for the following. It's dynamic, it's inspired by the fights in the film, and has some character and fun thrown in from Deadpool. For me, this is a pose I could leave them in long term on the shelf. Scene number 8, Cable vs Deadpool round 2. For this one, I wanted to continue with the struggle between them. No one really winning and no one really losing. I think this is another good display option for both of these guys if you want to showcase them battling each other in your display. We have Deadpool coming in strong with his sword and knife with the height advantage, but then we have Cable holding him off, catching the blade of the sword and then lifting the pistol up to Deadpool's face, probably about to blast him through the nostrils here. You know, funny thing with this one, the way the poncho is there actually happened by accident. I was trying to use a wire to have it flow back, but I couldn't get it how I wanted it, so I took it out. And just as I did that, it stayed like this, so I thought I'd run with it. Now tell me, who do you guys think would win this fight? Let me know in the comments down below. Scene number 9. Going for another team up here, we have all three of these guys together, this time using the Thunder Toys diorama base for them to interact with. My intention with this setup is to show you what you can do with these figures when you have extra elements like this base that you can add, whether it be for photography or your display. Now firstly, I posed up Cable in the middle. How I landed on this pose is I just started placing him on the base to see where he would fit. I knew I didn't want to use a flight pole for him, as I wanted to use the two I have for Deadpool and Logan. So I got him secure on the base first, and then I moved on to Wolverine. For him, I'm using the extra base and flight pole that is underneath the Dio base to have him coming around the side, running, claws out. Then lastly, I finished up with adding Deadpool. Now because of where the flight pole is for him and the space left after posing the other two guys up, it gave me that area on the left to figure out where to put him. So I just worked from there and played around with what I thought would work visually, playing off of Cable and Logan. And that's it. Scene. Scene number 10. We have all three together again, but this time I've switched the base around and have it as if they're all coming up and at us over the ledge of the rubble here. This one turned out to be one of my favourites of the bunch in the end, and funny thing was, it was completely unplanned. To begin with, I had no idea what pose to do at this point of making the video, so I started by looking at Deadpool comic pictures to see if there were any poses that I wanted to try on Deadpool that were very dynamic, just to see how far I could push him, which led me to this pose here. Once I got this pose how I wanted it, then I figured out where on the base to put him, and then from there I worked on adding the other two guys to play off of him. I tell you this because when it comes to posing figures, whether it be for photography or your display, the fun part is the doing. At least for me it is. It's an outlet for being creative, and half the time you end up with something completely different than your original idea, but that's okay, because if you didn't start to begin with, you wouldn't even have what you have before you now. Crazy thing about this one too is I took a picture and posted it on my Instagram, and the creator of Deadpool and Cable, Rob Liefeld himself, shared my picture, so shout out to you, kind sir. Thank you very much. One day my goal is to have you be my guest on my show, posed up, to chat collecting whilst we pose up these guys here with you. It is my mission to make that happen, so Rob, if by chance you see this video, check your DMs on Insta. I'd love to make it happen. It'd be a dream come true, mate. Okay guys, the outro. To close this out, I thought I'd try a more humorous display option for the shelf, which does only work if you have a spare Infinity Gauntlet lying around, which I do, so I thought it'd be kind of fun. In my mind, when I look at this scene, the story I see is Cable up front. He's just found the gauntlet and he's inspecting it, whilst we have Logan in the back like, uh-oh, claws out and alert, and then Deadpool yelling, Brolin, no, pointing and panicking of what might come if he puts it on. And that's it, guys and girls. I hope you've enjoyed this showcase today, and I hope you now have some posing and display ideas for these guys if you have them in your collection. And if you don't have them, I hope you've enjoyed this as a presentation of appreciation for these awesome pieces of art. I thank you all for tuning in, and if you haven't already done so, do us a favor, hit that like button, notification bell, and subscribe to the channel. Also, I now have a membership up and running with perks like no other. By hopping on board, you get access to my members-only Facebook group for behind the scenes and updates and more, your name in the end credits of my videos, once a month video catch-ups to chat, pose and chill together, access to upcoming live posing tutorials, as well as one-on-one coaching to help you set up your collection displays, but only if you want it. As a thank you to anybody who supports the channel, I will do my best to give you all the value I can for it. Lastly, on the channel we got reviews and unboxings, story-styled posing showcases, live streams including my shows Posed Up, where I interview fellow collectors and content creators whilst posing up figures, plus the rundown that I co-host with my guy Anthony, the figure posing channel where we deep dive into film and TV. But for now, until next time, live life, have fun, and keep posing. I'm out.